might not seem like they have that great of stats on paper, and that's because they really don't, but with some XP chevrons and with Harmony, they get up to 53 melee defense, of course 90 armor as well, being slightly buffed up by their, what is it, stone ground stance, defensive stance, that's right, a little bit of charge resistance as well. And yeah, I believe with golden ranks, I want to say they cost in the area of like 600, 700. We'll have to check that after the fact. But today we've got a land battle between Cathay and Kislev here, submitted by the Kislev player. They're going to be getting shelled immediately. We've got a front line of Jade warriors, rank 9 veteran Jade warriors ready to fight with swords and shields, peasant long spears, 2 cannons, an astromancer, some more long spears in the back, 2 more, and a couple of Jade Lancers for some mass. We've got the Alchemist, and the Lord already flying overhead is the Dragon-Blooded Shugen Gun. We've got Storm of Shadows, Talons of Night, Cloak of Jet, and Ancestral Warriors. So quite a heavy spell kit there for Kislev. Got Boris. Is he on foot or on horseback? Very interesting. We've also got a Patriarch on the bear. Some Winged Lancers, some Dervishes, 3, 4 Zargard in the front. We'll compare their stats in just a moment. Horse Archers, got some Streltsy in the back line, trying to get away from the summoned Ancestral Warriors there. Some more Streltsy, Crosshaws with great weapons. So this is nice because we can compare side by side these two unit stats, and you'll see the Zargard have pretty close, slightly better stats. Lower models overall, though, only 80 models in comparison to 120. And still, the Zargard do have more overall HP, so quite a bit more HP per model, but still pretty close in terms of stats. The weapon strength, 8 weapon strength is a pretty sizable difference, but the rest are close enough. They are very comparable. And keep in mind that the Jade Warriors do cost quite a bit less than the Zargard, right? So here we go. We're going to watch them clash. Zargard have definitely been taking a beating on the way in, just getting shelled, lit up by crossbows and archers, or, yeah, are there even crossbows? No, I think it's all just peasant archers. Yeah, peasant archers very cost effective now since the cost reduction. And more cannon fire pouring in. The Zargard, though, once they do get into combat, these units are just going to kind of wet noodle each other, and a really nice volley from the Streltsy right there. They're just going after peasants, but probably want to switch fire onto some more appropriate targets. We'll see. Boris over on the far side trying to break through on his cavalry, with his cavalry rather, but Cathay's done a great job protecting. These horse archers could detach and come all the way around and actually shut down the cannons. Looks like one dervish does manage to get through and shut down this cannon over here. These guys can get in and become quickly unbreakable. Once they start wavering, they'll take that cannon crew out. I think they're not even wavering yet. Yeah, just barely getting close right now. They've already destroyed several of the cannon models, so shutting down the cannon fire, very, very important. Streltsy, I'm surprised, though. They've been taking a lot of return fire from those peasant archers. Super cost and efficient trade for the Streltsy. Yeah, maybe they got hit by the cannon fire a few times there as well, because that is pretty remarkable how badly they are trading there. And I guess, yeah, the cannons, if they are shooting the Streltsy, that would make a lot more sense. I would think with the armor, the Streltsy could just out-trade the peasant archers, even if it is pretty inefficient. But the spear and cavalry support for Cathay was able to defend this flank. Boris kind of had to pull back and seek other options. And the Jade Warriors, although they are losing certain engagements, they are largely trading very well, and certainly they'll hold the line forever against the Zargards. This is one situation where maybe, arguably, you should have the Zargard with great weapons. Great swords. Speaking of great weapons, these Kossars firing their pistols in the flank here, doing some devastating damage to those Jade Warriors, definitely helping swing this fight heavily in favor of Kislev. They can then run in with their own great maces and do some good armor-piercing damage. Talons of the Night, though, in the center there to take out another one of those Zargards, so definitely a grind. Saber grind here. It's interesting to note that, yeah, the Kislev guys kind of have like falchions. These Chinese sort of sabers look very similar, right? They have a very similar shape. I've always found that interesting. The clash of curved blades, if you will. Kislev dudes definitely looking quite a bit bigger. I mean, you can tell size discrepancy on these guys. You can tell why they have so much more HP. Like, look, it's like, yeah, it's remarkable, really, how huge the Kislev Zargard dudes are, and just Kislev bros in general are gigantic humans, it seems like. Maybe the Cathayans are just pretty small. We'll have to wait and see until we can compare them directly side by side with like Empire and Bretonnian troops. But anyway, right now things are looking pretty grim for Kislev. The lines of Cathay have been able to hold, and the Zargard aren't able to break through anywhere. I do think this Kislev build lacked offensive output. There's no sleds, of course, which, you know, trying to play out of the meta, I definitely respect. Does put you behind the curve a little bit here, but I would think maybe even just mixing in a couple of the great weapon Zargard as well for the shielded ones. You probably do want a couple shielded ones just because that crossbow fire is definitely very real. But in this type of a situation where it was really the cannons, and of course the shield can't block a cannonball, much as these guys might try, they might hold up their shields and do an animation like they're trying. It's just not going to work out well for them. So yeah, is what it is, as they say. Nice engagement here for these gray open Kossars, though. Armored Kossars. They were doing okay. Looks like the Jade Lancers were able to actually come in and break them with the support of that hero there. But, you know, fighting in the woods potentially could be pretty beneficial. Right now, though, it's basically just a bunch of scattered Zargard waiting to break. Boris and the Patriarch, I guess, are quite healthy, and they could actually grind down quite a few troops. So let's fast forward here and watch as they do so. See some cannons doing some horrendous friendly fire damage, but all they need to do is tag Boris a couple times, and that will be pretty close to the end. Boris is getting close to army losses himself. Needs to try and maintain heals as much as possible for the Patriarch. I definitely think you want to take Boris on the bear, you know, even if, just regardless. I mean, the horse is definitely very cool, but the bear, the extra armor and extra HP would have definitely come in handy here, especially trying to grind through like peasant spears in the late game. It maybe could have done it if he had the access to the bear mount. The golden rank Jade Warriors, although they do have slightly better attack, still have pretty poor attack in general. They just have really good defensive stats for the cost. One of them probably comes pretty close to paying for themselves in terms of damage output. Anyway, though, so we'll have to check their actual cost in just a second here. The cannons definitely do a great job. You need cannons in this matchup. Super important against Kislev. The Jade Lancers also trade surprisingly well. Yeah, just sort of a much of an emphasis on infantry and lack of mobility here, I think. I mean, obviously no sleds, but even if you're not going to bring sleds, I still think you want some winged lancers, maybe. Yeah, there's also no magic here for this Kislev build as well, so yeah, it's a little bit interesting. But anyway, let's just quickly take a look. I know mainly it was about the comparison between these two specific units, but so if I take a look here. Yeah, the Jade Warriors, rank 9, cost 734. So it's quite a bit to upgrade. But then again, you consider in comparison to Zargard, who are significantly more expensive, right? They're up to 1,000. Does seem like they could be pretty cost effective in a more defensive role. I know some people had been using the golden rank Jade Warriors a little bit in early access, but I hadn't seen it too much in the live patches since we've been since the game has come out. But general, I would say it's weird, you know. I'm trying to think of the best use cases for this. I would really need to sit down and ponder, but maybe against somebody like Nurgle, where that extra melee defense will really come in handy, allow you to tank an engagement more effectively. Yeah, there's some other use cases potentially as well against a faction like Khorne. I don't know if it would really help that much. I think Khorne has high enough attack they can just cut through it anyway. Against Kislev, probably it could help if you're, you know, just putting your attack high enough that a lot of the Kislev infantry can't make contact with you, because although Kislev infantry generally pretty good overall, generally pretty cost effective, they don't have the best attack stats in general, and a lot of them being kind of sort of hybrid units pay for that in terms of not having the best combat stats overall. And even the Zargard, I mean, they're all right. Arguably not amazing for the cost, but they're pretty good at their intended role. So I guess that it would follow that these Jade Warriors would be also pretty good at that intended role, being sort of more of an elite tank. Last thing to consider, though, for Cathay is in land battles and in domination. More so in land battles, because you have more, I guess, yeah, you bring less total units. Can't zerg the field quite as much. Maybe it's more worth it there, but generally I would say with Cathay it's better to just go with more units, and if you have gold left over, Chevron. But I don't know, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Go give this a shot on ladder, maybe try it out against a Nurgle player or another another faction, or maybe try it out with the halberds. I mean, this is really, you're encroaching on the territory of the Celestial Dragon halberd here, but there's also another discussion to be had there, perhaps. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification every time I upload a new video. You'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.